medical marijuana dispensaries pop up, crime increase in those communities. And there's some reasons behind it that the police officials I spoke with gave us. The big one is it's going to attract more users, more people to get it. And now I'm not here to debate the legality of medicinal marijuana. Maybe it has its purpose. The voters have spoken, like Councilor Fallon said. That's not my topic, but the information I got, and I understand, is the law that was passed in Massachusetts is very similar to California, particularly how you can get a medicinal marijuana card. The wording in it, and I just want to make sure I don't mess this one up, is the provision in this that says the standard for issuance of a card includes several maladies, and the provision is in any other conditions as determined in writing by a qualified patient's physician. In other words, the physician can authorize medicinal marijuana for a variety of reasons. What I'm hearing from some of my peers in California, and as well as reading some material from folks up in Oregon and Colorado, you can have athletes, you can have stress, you can go to a doctor. It's not a prescription, it's a referral. So if Councilor Lozzi gets a referral for athletes when he's 20 years old and he goes to the doctor and he gets a referral card, that card's good for life. He can get medicinal marijuana the rest of his life. So what they find out in California was these folks who do it will move into the communities, or they'll frequent the communities where these dispensaries are. Essex County is going to be 5 of these things. We're going to have one someplace probably in the North Shore. And the thing about California, the average person in California who has a medicinal marijuana card is a 32-year-old white male with history of alcohol and substance abuse, no history of a life-threatening illness. It's somebody, I don't say they're using the system, but they're taking advantage of the system to get marijuana. Since 2008, when marijuana was decriminalized or council or less, we've seen a spike in violence with marijuana-related incidents on the street. In fact, I think it was the year after, it's not even 2010. We had 3 homicides in the city of Lynn. 2 of those were over marijuana. You might remember the one at the Gallup Flight, a young kid who was killed up there over marijuana. We see more and more of this going on. The other point of this here that I'm hearing from California is, Councilor Fallon mentioned DPH has come out with standard guidelines. What's happened in Oregon and in California, 80% of the referrals for medicinal marijuana coming from a handful of doctors, 10% of the doctors out there. Those doctors are. So you can see it's not really a good mix, at least what's happening out there. And again, my information is the law we passed here in Massachusetts is very similar to what's out in California. So there's a lot of things going down the road. One of the things that bothers me, just to kind of put this in perspective, maybe locally, Lynn has a lot of social service providers, particularly in substance abuse fields. And don't get me wrong, I'm a believer a lot of those have legitimate purpose and do good work. But what we have seen on the streets as police officers in the last several years is a sharp increase in the amount of addicts that are walking around Lynn or residing. And you got to wonder why. And I'm not here to take on any of these social service agencies or these providers, but there is a correlation between some of the clients they serve and their increase in their client population versus what we see on the street. To date, in 2012, we've had 18 fatal heroin overdose, and I believe it's 102, 103 non-fatals. We've been keeping track of heroin overdoses for about 20 years. This is the highest year we've ever had in those 20 years. The previous record was 15. These stats are only good as October 31st. We have 2 months more to go. But when we see more addicts on the street, we see more crime, we see more house breaks, more robberies, more street robberies, commercial robberies. You got to fund your habit. So, and what we're hearing out in California, again, when we're to the dispensaries, when you get somebody who may be taking advantage of the system, they're getting marijuana and also selling on the black market, and selling it to kids. That's what's happening out there. That's what I fear, as a local police chief, I fear may happen here. And frankly, I think we have enough of our own problems to deal with today. I know Councilor Fallon just mentioned, economic growth and new ideas, community development. I'm all for that. And I said many times before, unless you have decent public safety, you're not going to attract any new developers or any new people to move into the city unless we can say we have a decent level of public safety. It's obviously not my job. So that's what I got. I mean, I got stats, I got stuff. If you want to see some studies, like some referrals to studies, if you want to do some more homework on it, but kind of in a nutshell, that's where I'm coming from.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? I kind of, Chief, I don't know if you know the answer to you have any idea how the medical world feels about, prescribing this, or whatever they don't have?
Well, you guys may remember, I did a guest commentary on the ISC for the election. The research I had, American Medical Association, British Medical Association, American Colonial Society, goes on and on, all the big medical organizations, fraternities, did not endorse marijuana.
Mr. Chairman, through the chair, Attorney Lamana, would there be question about the timing of this ordinance in regard to, holding legal muster? Could it be challenged because we're doing this after, or are we pretty secure in moving forward on this?
The timing will not be an issue, I understand. Reading and Wakefield have already had 2 town meetings banned completely all marijuana.
They banned them?
Yes. PBD, I believe, is contemplating passing something very soon. We're going to be on week 1. I know Salem, Massachusetts is also putting together something similar to this. So the timing would not be an issue.
Why can't we ban it? Why do we have to craft it so, why not ban it?
There is case law in California that an outright ban would be unlawful. So would be our advice.
Would be unlawful?
Would be unlawful for an outright ban. Some sections of the city, and that's why we've given 4 sections of the city, with the caveat that you cannot be within 1,000 feet of a school, playground, or residence, or safety of the public. And that model left of Walden is also in the process of passing an ordinance very similar to this, 1,000 feet of a school, playground, or a residence, which effectively, public safety reasons, eliminate the majority of all the city.
And we say require a special permit.
So also, we're not denying a patient to get the prescription on smoking, although we're denying is the availability of it in the city, correct?
Correct. There would be, as the council president indicated, a Costco warehouse where people will be coming in to have their prescription filled. Because we do not have the ability to get anyone from the city when they have a valid prescription to utilize the marijuana.
Chief.
Just to add on that, you may or may not know this, but if you ban it, or if you ban it from Lynn or any community, if that person needs medicinal marijuana, cannot get to a dispensary, they can grow their own in their homes now under the law.
Now, I'm not sure about the law. I'm a patient and I have a prescription to smoke marijuana. Does that mean I can smoke it anywhere I want?
The Department of Public Health will come up with rules and regulations. One of them, the law says that a person with a lawful prescription has a right to a 60-day supply. The Department of Public Health is going to define that. And there'll be a number. That's just one example of a number of regulations that the department will be put together. But as far as locating it, they will not get involved in cities and towns. I believe Danvers proposed no new greenhouses in Danvers. Any greenhouse has to be located on more than 2 acres. There are many cities and towns that are putting forth very stringent rules and regulations with respect to it. I don't believe there's many properties in Lynn that are over 2 acres. Danvers is, of course, a little unique in that respect. Given the congestion in the city and how homes and schools and parks and playgrounds, I believe this is an effective way for the city to move forward with respect to this issue.
Move forward with the motion to set it down for public hearing.
Council Taylor?
If you don't mind, just a couple of questions. And I'm not saying I'm in favor or opposed to this, but I guess because the law as it's written is very unclear, and there isn't a real like answer to the product of the law. But to be clear, on January 1, people can, if they get a proper prescription, start growing in their house immediately. So I guess the arguments against prohibiting treatment centers is that you open the door up for people not in the requirements are that you have a financial undue hardship, or you're not close to mass transit, or you're not near a treatment center. So I'm just concerned that if you ban the treatment centers, people will just start growing in their own homes. Now, landlord associations have come out against this because they're concerned about fire, they're concerned about increased utility costs. That's the big voice against it because they're afraid home. So it's kind of a double-edged sword that we should consider. We ban the treatment centers, are we just pushing it into our neighborhoods where people will start growing this in, you know, the third floor of an apartment building, which is concerning. And I think there may be some guidance from the Department of Public Health. I also think that maybe cities and towns should be creative about the hardship licenses, and that I don't think the law prohibits a city or town requesting the identity of people who are growing it in their homes for safety purposes. HIPAA does not apply, because federal law does not apply to this, because we're essentially evading federal law by doing this. So you may want to think about adding something where people would come and register themselves as a home grower here in the city of Lynn with the city clerk. You might want to attach a license fee to that. Just thinking of ways to creatively create revenue, at the same time being able to understand, you know, who's growing it, where they're growing it, for the fire department in particular, if there's a third floor apartment that's growing these things that maybe they want to know about. I'm not taking a position one way or the other, just some of the things I would put out there for public discussion.
Councilors, anybody, anything to say?
The only other way, if I could, just to kind of add what Council Care just mentioned, I think we need to look at the difference between a dispensary, where everybody can come to get their marijuana, versus a home grow. That person's doing it for his own 60-day supply, so he's not distributing. The dispensaries would be, and the information I've learned from my colleagues in California, that's the attraction. That's where you get all these other folks coming in to buy their marijuana. They stay in those communities, or they frequent those communities. That's where they see crime go up, which is bringing more people in. Hence my analogy to some of the other social service agencies here that the clients come here, but they still have to afford their habit. When they afford their habit, it's through crime. That's what I'm concerned about.
Even if a person was doing home grow for themselves, I mean, how many joints can you get out of when they can't sell?
They can't sell. That's
Planned, but, I mean, you know, they're not gonna be growing dozens of plants for themselves, right?
no. Again, it's somebody said before, we're going to stricter guidelines from the Department of Public Health, but what I just gave away is today, you're only growing for your home supply, you legally hold supply of 60, whatever they determine 60-day supply to be. As Council Lowry just mentioned, if you're growing extra, you're selling out the back door, now you're being charged for distribution.
Right.
And I do believe that that you can't home grow on January 1 until, the law doesn't become effective until the State Department of Public Health comes up with regulations according to Attorney Lamana. I think the regulations have to be in place first. Then, I mean, the law is the law, it's the will of the voters, and, you know, and I would never question that. So I agree with the chief, this is something different than that.
All right, Council
But
Care.
I think that point is unclear, and I would probably disagree with you that January 1st, people can't start doing it, and that's the problem. I think that's why the state government is thinking about delaying it, because the way it's written now is very vague. I think a lot of people would argue that you can't stop it on January 1, which has created a big problem with the Department of Public Health and elected officials everywhere, because there will not be a regulatory scheme put in place. And from my information, they haven't even appointed anyone in the EPH to write these regulations yet. So that's the problem with this law. It's written too vague, where two words the same 3 or 5, I mean, we have here, all have different kind of opinions of what it says. So I don't know. I'd be cautious about whether or not that's accurate on my side of it.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Council Seer?
Yes.
Yes, Council Ford, absent Council Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Council Trahan, absent Council Capano?
Yes.
Yes, Council Bailey?
Yes.
Need an emergency?
Not to just set it down.